Aliens, extraterrestrials, UFOs, UAPs, let's talk about it. Although for most of us, it's pretty much common knowledge that we're not the only biological beings in this multiverse. For the first time ever, the government finally decided to disclose that, yep, they do exist, and they have UFOs, and they even have biological beings that are not human. It's sad that they didn't address them lying to us for so long and even shaming the people who had encounters or even believed in aliens. But that's besides the point. Today, I'm going to tell you a couple of things that I've actually never mentioned before. Before I start, some of you are going to say, yeah, wait, Tanya, you used to talk about extraterrestrials all the time and then you suddenly stopped. Let me tell you why. I used to make videos on mental health, spirituality, and extraterrestrials. Like, I would dive deep into it. At one point, Gaia.com reached out to me to work with them. And through my work with them, I ended up connecting with Dr. Stephen Greer. Stephen Greer hosted this weekend event with Gaia, and they asked me to do a watch party with them. I went live on TikTok, live with you guys on YouTube, and then all of my social media shut down. All of my videos about extraterrestrials were flagged or removed. Stephen Greer had mentioned to us that anybody that's affiliated with them could get in trouble. I got really scared. I have a family and I was like, no, I'm not ready for this. I've had my own encounters, which I'm going to share with you today. I was excited about everything that's going on and all the knowledge that's coming about extraterrestrials, but it wasn't worth it for me. I was like, I have this life that I want to live and I want to live in peace, not in fear. But now that it's public knowledge from the government themselves, I'm going to talk about it today in hopes that this video doesn't get removed. Ever since my dad was little, he had this strange obsession with extraterrestrials. That's his words. He said, since he can remember, every single night till this day, if he goes outside, he looks for them. He knows they're there. And his words is, I can't wait to meet them. I have no negative vibes about them. I think it's going to be a great time. My dad had a whole series of the mysteries of the unknown. In 1987, he got this book. Never told me about his fascination with extraterrestrials because back then in the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s, you would be shamed if you talked about any of that stuff. He never told us until I found this book one day when I was about 18 years old and I dove into that. I started YouTubing and I went down the rabbit hole and I found Stephen Greer when he had these little groups of people that would do C5 meditations, which are meditations to connect with extraterrestrials in a peaceful way. I had already been meditating, and although I was really scared at first, even though he kept saying that no, it's nothing to be fearful about, I was scared because I didn't know what to expect. It first started with seeing things in my mind's eye. I was seeing visions and I was like, oh, maybe this is just my mind creating things. But they were distinctive faces that would be right up in my face. And some of them were gray, some of them were blue, some of them were even looked human-like. Which reminds me of a story that I forgot to tell you. I had an insane dream about two people. It was a man and a woman who looked human, but they were not. They were very, very tall. They had a longer face. And they told me that they were Pleiadian, which I had no idea. As soon as I woke up from my meditation, I started Googling it, and I couldn't find much back then because it was quite many years ago. I found stuff, and apparently other people had similar encounters. So I have had since then, in the last 5 years ago, so many things that have happened, like visions or things that I could hear, but I don't hear it with my ear, I hear it with my mind. One of them said, "You are from Sirius," which I had no idea what it was until I Googled it. And the more I meditated, the more I had these encounters, and the more I started believing that there is a race of extraterrestrials that are us in the future. Hear me out before you guys think I'm absolutely nuts. There is a race of extraterrestrials that we are their ancestors, and they can travel through dimension, through time, to observe us and just watch for the planet, for everything before, we destroy it. I've done quite a few C5 meditations with my family, but only twice did we actually see something, and one actually we caught on camera. Actually, technically we didn't catch it on camera, but we caught our reaction on camera. So I didn't catch whatever happened, but we were like, oh my God. Something went really fast over us and then froze, stopped over us and was like hovering, but it was pretty far up and then flew away. And still our brains were like, oh, maybe it's a satellite. But the way it was moving, it made no sense to be a satellite. Every single time I had encounters within my meditation or physical, I never felt negative. I never felt that there was any harm that was going to be done to us. Strong feeling that I have is they're here to protect the planet. Every single species, every kind of extraterrestrials all over, every planet's all over the place, they are here to protect the planet, the universe. I want to end this by saying that everything that I have encountered is my perception of what happened. I know that there's a possibility that this is not reality. They're my perceptions. But here's the cool thing. Perceptions can be reality when proof starts coming out. And the proof is now being admitted by the government. So it's possible that what I encountered is real or not. But I'm okay with living in the maybe. I'm okay with releasing control. Just remember that fear creates division. Love creates unity. Just keep that in mind.